which means, or it implies that if you give something promptly, especially when it's something that someone asks you for, you're actually giving the gift twice, because you're giving them what they asked for, and you're giving it to them quicker than they might have expected it. Could you tell us about a situation in which this phrase rang true in your life, or you encountered a situation where you got something quickly and that made all the difference, or perhaps you gave something very quickly and that made all the difference to that person or to you? Weston.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that interesting question. I can't recall a time where I've actually received a gift where I felt that it was being gifted to me twice because it was given to me earlier or I wasn't expecting it. However, this past weekend, I went to a wedding, and my wife went on the wedding website, and the website said, we don't want gifts. Your presence is our gift. So she's telling me this, and we actually bought them like a little, like a you hang it on the wall. It's like a sign, but it has like their names on it.
Like a foyer thingy.
There's a term for it.
To go in a foyer.
It's on a canvas. It's like a canvas.
A bona fide canvas.
A bona fide canvas. Picture. Anyway, so we got that for them, and she's like, "Oh, this is all we're gonna give them." I said, "No, that's just being polite." They put that statement on their website to be polite. So we ended up throwing a check in there, and we go to the actual ceremony of the wedding, and a lot of people actually followed that statement online. So I was like, well, I don't know if that was the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do to give a gift, but I feel like by us doing that, maybe it would be a surprise or be the Latin statement you said to them. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Aribus teneo lupum means I hold a wolf by the ears. And it's an old proverb that talks about how it's a kind of a catch-22 situation where letting go of the wolf and holding on to the wolf are both bad things. Talk about a time when you were caught in such a situation where both of the choices that you could make were very difficult. Mary Jane.
Are you reading eye contact? Oh my gosh. Your questions are so long, Martin. I'm trying to figure them out, and then you say them in another language. But I think a lot of the times we're always faced with tough decisions. Do I do this? Do I do that? Should I go down this road? Should I go down that road? Now I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. I didn't dream of working at Northrop Grumman. I'll be honest. Don't let that secret leave this room. I had dreams is big. But I wanted to be in hospitality. I wanted to open up my own bed and breakfast. I went down this path for so long. I like what I do here, but I wasn't completely sure it was my passion. So I started working at the DoubleTree down the street last year. Yeah, 1 block away, that DoubleTree, for 6 months. And I was at crossroads in my life where I was like, do I do what I think my passion is, what I love, or do I do what I like? Long story short, in 6 months I found out I didn't like hospitality at all. I did like working here at Northrop. I didn't love it, but I was okay with that. And it was a very hard decision for me because I was really burning the candle at both ends, exhausting myself, trying to make a decision. Do I leave Northrop Grumman, a company that's been so good to me, to go down this other path that I've dreamed about for 5-6 years? Or do I stay? And I made the decision to stay because guess what? It is okay to like what you do and then love what you do outside of work. So I came to that realization. It was tough. I battled it for 6 years, finally scratched that itch last year. Don't tell anyone that when I got off at 5 p.m. last year, I went to work another 5 hours at the DoubleTree, and I was terrified to see someone at Northrop check in. I decided to stay. I'm still here. I'm happy with my decision. It was tough, but it was a decision that had to be made. Mr. Tabletop. Don't tell me that, please.
Astra inclinant sed non obligant, which means the stars incline us, they do not bind us. Michelle, do you believe in destiny? Why or why not?
You can go ahead.
Toastmaster. I don't really believe in destiny. I think you make your own path. We're faced with difficult decisions every day, our whole lives, trying to figure out what we want to do, what our passions are. So, for example, with myself, I thought I was destined to be a doctor. I studied for 3 years biology in college. I volunteered at a hospital. I wanted to be an ER doctor. And then I realized this isn't for me. A lot of what I had learned in the hospital is you're doing a lot of computer work and paperwork and not actually helping people get better. So I thought my destiny was to be in the healthcare field, but then I realized that's not what I wanted to do. So I took a year off from college to try to figure out what is going to be of my life. I played rugby, I played in college, and I played for a club in Santa Monica, and I started volunteering with kids and mentoring them as an after-school program. And I really enjoyed doing that, but again, I realized I don't want to work with kids because they can be a handful, a bona fide handful. And I just come to the realization that you need to make money somehow, and that's how I ended up at Northrop, being a computer systems analyst.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you create your own destiny by venturing out and doing experiences. Okay.
Thank you very much, Michelle, for humoring my crazy question. Vincit qui sa vincit. He conquers who conquers himself. Josh, tell us about a time when you conquered yourself or had some kind of big personal victory.
Amazing quote, and I actually, as soon as you read the translation, I said, this has to be mine. So I've actually been through a lot of challenging ones, but the one that sticks with me to this day, it was back in the summer of 2012. I was going into my senior year of high school. I was training to be a pilot, actually. And like I said, I'm really cynical, but I'm really realistic, and there's just things that play in my mind all and over again. So I was at Falcon Field out in Peachtree City, which is the southwest end of Atlanta, Georgia. And we were training, we were going up, we were doing solos. We went through 3 planes in an hour. I looked at my instructor and I said, God doesn't want me to fly today. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so our first, while we're going down the runway, we had a flat tire. Had cut the power. Okay, no, whatever, happens all the time. Get in our second plane. We start taxiing down the runway. He says, turn the engine off, it's too hot, you don't have any oil. I said, cool. We get in our third plane. Before we even got the okay go from the air traffic controller, I cut the plane off and I said, we need to take a break because I'm not feeling it. There's some aura around me that's telling me not to do this day. And it was a gorgeous day. I've never seen such beautiful clouds before in my life, which is actually not a good day for flying because that's a lot of turbulence, but it looked gorgeous to me. And I had to go to the break room for about an hour. I had to get the manager of the airport, the air traffic controller, my flight instructor, and the program manager to all convince me to get back in the plane. And the third plane that I got in, it had Isaiah 40:31, which is we soar on the wings like eagles. So I said, you know what, there might be a different aura in this plane. Ended up going up, having a great flight session, and on the way down, it just reinstated that fear has to be faced. If that was my time to go, that was my time to go, and I was doing something that I love. So that's when I conquered myself.
Great story. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.